Who is Natasha Kitty Katt? Natasha Kitty Katt is a soul, disco, funk, house, boogie, Italo-obsessed DJ and producer on an international scale. I run my own record label. I've been doing this for 10 years. Also avid sci-fi and horror fan, and I like to put my influences into the music that I create and my style as well. So for years, my dad was always like, when are you gonna get rid of Kitty Katt? Come on, Natasha Kitty Katt, what's it about? And it basically comes from an obsession with cats. I love cats. I wanted one for years. I was told, no, you're not getting one when you're younger. Moved out, I've got Atlantis, my pride and joy. And yeah, it's basically been a crazy cat lady. So I was raised in a household that my dad taught me how to DJ, but I was raised in a house where there was constantly music on. My dad's an obsessed record collector, and he actually taught me how to DJ. And I remember I went to a night in Edinburgh called Ladies on Rotation, and it was all female DJs, and I thought, well, I love music. I need to learn this craft and put it into practice, and I've never looked back. I used to play guitar years ago, badly. But I started off with guitar. I mean, I also love like my rock music as well. I've got many different influences. But that, being in a household again with music constantly playing, you learn to love certain songs, certain sounds. And when I found the opportunity to DJ, it was like bringing my love for music in a new way where I could play music I love out, and which has led me into production as well, because that was naturally the next step. I was like, I play music out, but I want to play something out that I've actually created myself. It's a totally different feeling. Nerve-wracking, but good.
Unlike a band, you're on stage on your own as the DJ, so was there any confidence issue or anything like that you had to overcome?
Oh, absolutely. My confidence if I look back to when I started to where I am now, the journey is, it's clear you can see I've grown from it. And I remember when I started as well, there was a lot of skepticism. It's hard being a female in the industry. It's kind of like, who does she think she is? Why is it a girl doing a man's job? The outdated stereotypes. It was also the thing of the fact that my dad was a DJ for many years. It's like, oh, she's just trying to copy her dad. She's just living in his shadow. But anyone who hears us both would know that I've taken my own road, but I learnt the craft off of him. But yeah, there was a lot of like, who the hell's this? I still get that, but I enjoy it. Well, I can tell you my first ever gig was in a bar, like a pub, and I was sitting down playing records. I wasn't even standing. So that was my first ever gig. But my first one on stage to a proper nightclub was at Hector's house in Edinburgh, and that was like a life-changing moment for me. Being on that stage, playing the music, the crowd, everybody, it's one of those moments I was like, there's no going back now. You've found something you really love. You got to keep doing it, and here I am. There was certain factors that were catalysts for growth, and one of them I would say was when I'd done Southport Weekender. It was like the last ever one. It was down south, and I was playing to a room, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people there. It was the biggest gig for me that I'd ever done at that point. And it was like my friends, my family were all there, everyone was cheering for me. And it's one of these moments, I think, that before I die, I'll go back to that moment in my head. I've got it captured on video, and it's one that anytime it pops up in a memory, I just get taken back to that place. But definitely Southport Weekender, also the production side, because they say, if you're going to be a DJ in the industry, you better get making some music too. And that has been that's helped build the fan base, and people are used to anytime they see anything with a vampire or Star Trek on it, they usually send me it or tag me. So I've affiliated myself with the things I love as well.
So did you study music or anything at college, university?
No. No. You know what? I didn't like music at school. I didn't like it at all, in fact, because the way it was taught, it just did not interest me. I didn't do it at school. Anything I've learned in terms of production and DJing, I've done in my own time. Because I find when you're passionate about something, sometimes when it gets put in a certain format, it can take your passion out of it. And the way it was so linear at school. I wasn't getting to play the things I wanted to on the keyboard. I wasn't getting to do Natasha Kitty. I wasn't getting to do me. So I didn't do it at school. But later on, after school, I've done production courses and stuff in my own time. I've felt more like me, but at school and uni and stuff, I didn't bother with music.
So at what point did the dream of doing this, maybe on a more full-time basis, start to become a reality?
When I noticed I was getting flown over to Dubai, I was getting flown to Ibiza, I was getting flown all these different places. Then I got signed to Defected and Glitterbox's agency, Colluded Talent. And in our world, the house music world and the disco world, they're like at the top of the pile. So, you know, getting that opened a lot of doors. I was getting to go on various tours with them. I've been to New York, I was in Germany, again back in Ibiza, all over with them, Ministry of Sound in London. So that just, you know, getting signed to such a prestigious name and label and having an agent working for me with them, it took it up a notch, definitely. And it's opened so many doors for me.
Recently just done a US tour.
Yeah, that was amazing. To be honest, the US tour, the funny thing is with this, I actually booked the tour myself. This is something I'd done through my contacts. It started off at House of Yes in New York. It's like an arts club. They have like aerialists, there's cannons. It's just like, imagine like a night back at Studio 54, but in modern day. It's that kind of thing. And it's funny, my friend was with me, who was the doorman at Studio 54, Mark Beneke. He was the guy telling everyone, you're not getting in, but he's a friend of mine. So getting to take him along and be like, this is like a modern iteration of what you would have seen back in the day. So House of Yes, amazing. Seattle Supernova, love it. Again, it's that same sort of concept where it's not just a DJ in a booth. They're all about the whole, it's like an experience. It's like my friend Zach, who owns it, Zach Levine, says he's like a nightlife, what's it, a nightlife curator? He's got a nightlife experience curator or something. It's got this whole thing. New Orleans, absolutely love. I felt like, and the amount of people were like, oh, you look like a local here, sitting in the French Quarter on the balcony with all the Vamp stuff. So I got to play there. And it was funny because when I got booked to play New Orleans was the same day me and my sister had booked a flight to go there just for a holiday. So we'd booked to go there for a weekend because I was like, Anne Rice, I need to go, childhood dream. And then on the same day after we booked, I was going back there 2 weeks after we'd bought flights the same day, so I got to go twice. And then gig in Philly, I got to DJ with my dad, who taught me, so it was an all vinyl gig. That was cool. And then ended in Mexico City, and that was amazing. I don't know if you've seen the video online, the healers. It was like outside this church, they had all these spiritual stuff, and I was like, oh, let's go for it. It was so weird though. It was good weird. And yeah, I had so much fun. I loved it. I'm already speaking about going back at the end of the year, so the time of my life.
Some people might feel a little bit uncomfortable going on a night out with their parents, but you were on stage with your dad actually performing for everyone else to have a night out.
It feels natural because my dad taught me, and with being brought up in a household that's obsessed with music, more often than not when I've travelled, like when I go to Sunsebeat in Croatia, I go every summer, my mum and dad go. It's natural, because we're all connected through music, and my mum and dad aren't like a normal mum and dad. That's one way to put it. So we have a good time, and getting to DJ again with my dad, it was very emotional for both of us because we've not been able to do it for 6 years. He's in Philadelphia most of the time, I'm here. We used to DJ together here, Ghetto Disco, which is my record label, Ghetto Disco Records. That started off me and him. So 6 years of not being able to, and then getting a chance in Philadelphia, this really cool space, LMNO, it's like a listening style room that's based on the Japanese listening rooms. I don't know if you've ever seen them, they're really, really cool. It's like audiophile, like maniacs, we love all that. But yeah, it was just really special, especially, being so long since we got to share that. And it was an emotional night. Family was there, friends were there, we had friends from New York all over who'd come in for it, so it was beautiful, really good.
As a more seasoned performer, do you think you'd be able to list some of the do's and don'ts that the audience should take into consideration when dealing with a DJ?
Absolutely. So a big don't, if a DJ's playing vinyl, don't put your hands on it. Come on, Also, do smile, have a good time. If you're enjoying it, show you're enjoying it, but don't pester the DJ. Don't ask for requests. That's my big no-no for me. But yeah, just be cool. Be cool. Do the Vulcan salute. Dance a bit if you want. Don't touch the records and have a good time.
Throughout the interview and videos that I've seen online, you seem to have a lot of horror held close to your heart, especially the old classics. Being such a fan of that, do you integrate your love of horror into your performances, or do you ever sample classic lines or sounds from the old films?
Really good question, actually. So recently I'd done a remix for DeLucas and Walterino. They had done a track called Discovamp, and when I seen it, I was getting tagged, "Oh, Natasha, this track, you need to check it out." So I got asked to do the remix for it, and I used Bela Lugosi, Children of the Night. And it done well, so I'm pleased with that. But yeah, Bella, my fave Dracula's Bella, always. I think I just love monsters, whether it's an alien or a vampire. I've always been attracted to the monsters and things. And you know, I love marrying the two with the music. You know, if I can put in a little horror sample here or a sci-fi, you know, I've got the Star Trek, I've got the transporter, every sound effect you can think of. I'm like, how can I put this on a track? How can I, you know, again, I've always been drawn to, you know, the weird stuff. Still am.
What are some of your proudest accomplishments or moments through your career?
So proudest, again, you know, I would say, I did mention this previously, but the Southport Weekender, which I'm actually going to be playing again this weekend. I've been asked back as like a resident, so that's been great. But that moment was like a career-changing gig for me as well. Again, my production work, you know, taking something from concept to completion, having an idea and then seeing it through. You know, so I'd done a self-released EP on my label, Ghetto Disco Records, called Cosmic Oscillation. So that was a 4-track EP, all original stuff, all sci-fi inspired, and you know, getting to create something that, again, sci-fi close to my heart, something that was like a love letter to sci-fi, and getting to put that out and having the initial ideas and going through the stages and then seeing it as a finished product. But definitely proudest moments would be like traveling the world, going to Brazil, Sao Paulo. That was a gig I'll remember, you know. I'll never forget that. That was insane. That was so much fun. Again, all over America, Europe. There's so many places I want to go, but I've been fortunate the places that I have seen. And as I say, I'm excited with the journey.
What can they expect to see from a Natasha Kitty Katt show? Lots
of energy. If I've got a good crowd, my energy levels go up, and then theirs go up, and it's like you have this great interaction. Especially when I was in New Orleans, I really noticed that this year. The crowd was going crazy. They were all doing this back at me, and that's a sign that things are going good. But yeah, lots of disco, good energy, and hopefully a good time. But that all depends on who's there. It depends who you ask. But hopefully a good time, good music, and yeah, good energy. So my album's coming out this year. I'm still finalising the details with the label it's going to come out on, so I can't say anything about that just yet, but it's called Synaptic Juice, and that's literally taken from, I heard it being said in Voyager. I can't remember what character it was, but I remember saying, oh, that's Synaptic Juice, and I was like, oh, album title right there. So I've been working with different singers, Joe Malik, Suki Soul. It's all original material. It's going to be about a 6-7 track album. It's coming out this year. Bat Dance, which I was telling you about earlier, that's what my music video that I've recorded, and that's, again, my love letter to old school horror. You've seen the Poltergeist reference. It's going to be stop motion and animation as well with some of me, and it's going to look at some of my favourite vampire films throughout history. So,
what is your favourite vampire film out history?
Now that is a tough question, but as I say, I do love Bella. Bella's my favourite Dracula, but I love Interview with the Vampire. There's just so many. See, trying to pick a favourite, I've got my Blade reference in there. I love Blade as well. Nosferatu, all that, so yeah. So I'm on every social media platform. It's Natasha Kitty Katt, which is cat spelled K-A-T-T. The amount of times it's one T I have to tell folk, it's double T. Instagram, Facebook, I've got a website. If there's a social media channel, I'm probably on it. You can get me anywhere. I want to just continue to grow as an artist. Production, I love DJing, but I must admit my love for production is starting to overtake. You know, I do love them both, don't get me wrong, because there's nothing quite like playing to a crowd and getting that experience, but also creating something. I'm a very creative person, getting to do that. So for me, one of my main goals, this album is like I want it to do well. I want to, keep traveling and just keep growing as an artist. That's my goals. Thank you anyone tuning in, anyone that supports my music. Hopefully you've learned something interesting today. And yeah, hit me up on social media.